Hello, welcome. This is Josh. I'm Josh. Shane Foreman is the first in to comments on YouTube. Congratulations, Shane. You get the award for today. Sadly, today's award is 100 spankings. Grimalkin, hey! 6 a.m. where you are, huh? Well. Where are we? Since last we met, I sanded this guy down with some fine-ish sandpaper 220 and sprayed some Army Painter primer. I've still got inconsistency with the texture on the surface. You can see how it kind of breaks up as it gets close to the dreadlocks, where it's kind of where it's deeper, right? There's some furrows in his brow, basically where sandpaper, it's kind of harder to get the sandpaper in. Although I have no excuse for the chin there being as rough as it is, but here you go. Yeah, so I think I just, well, actually, I could do more sanding on it that way. I could also try more gap filling. I'm going to be using Epoxy Sculpt to do some sculpting on him. I'm going to see what happens if I just try to fill that with a brush that has diluted Epoxy Sculpt in it. Dottie, welcome. Malkin says, I woke up from a bad dream and was about to go back to sleep, but saw your notification. I saved you. I saved you from another bad dream. You're welcome. Olitha, welcome. Van Morta over on Twitch popping in. Thank you. I need my Twitch folks. Appreciate that. I want these arrowhead tattoos that I've got going on to be more subtle than they are right now. Like this one right here is the perfect amount of subtleness. Like You only just kind of see it when the light hits it just right. These guys, the way they pop out, they look like, well, some kind of like scarification or branding or something. That's not the impression I want to give. Jeez, look at the texture there. That's just super gritty. Gotta fix that. I have a variety of shaped sanding sponges. And the idea is you wrap your paper around it, and then you've got a way to get the sandpaper into smaller or awkward places, such as here. And it kind of works sometimes. I think I might have some smaller ones, but I could not find them. Even though I always keep all my sanding stuff in one box. Although the box is getting big enough now that it might be a matter of, like, now I need to subdivide the category of sanding into smaller categories. I don't know. Small sanding bits and big sanding bits or something. Keep those in separate boxes. That's the kind of thing where when you complain about it out loud, then you realize you're doing something dumb and there's an obvious solution to it. At least that's how it works for me often. David. Hey, David says, hi all, I'm David from Rome, Italy. Here it's 10 p.m. and watching Josh is outstanding and frustrating as well. By the way, a lot of practice could solve some trouble. I assume you mean problems. Josh, white gloves? Yeah, I'm a little, OC without the D. I'm just going to say that from now on. I'm OC without the D. I refuse to say that it causes problems in my life. My obsessive compulsive tendencies. You know, it's just, I don't like having gunk on my hands. Sorry, world. That's why I don't like camping. I love hiking, I love day trips, but I hate camping. Unless the campground has like a real bathroom with real plumbing, then it's alright, because I can wash my hands. I'm not going to do well in the zombie apocalypse. I mean, I could probably survive a long time because eating like 1 ounce of trail mix will make me fat for a month, but I'll also be going crazy because of how sticky and dirty my hands will be. Also, I already decided up front that I'd rather die to help someone than survive by killing someone. So, according to the rules of all apocalyptic, post-apocalyptic genres, I will be dead very quickly. And I'm alright with that. David, did I pronounce that right, by the way? David, that's my guess, although I think that's maybe a little more Middle Eastern than it is Italian. Grimalkin says, I'm such a pedant. OC without the D, fam. Malkin says, I'm the opposite with dirt, though. Germs are good for you. Oh, yeah, of course they are. I mean, a limited extent. You don't want to go around rubbing raw sewage on yourself and then licking your fingers. That'll probably make you sick. Man, this little divot here, super obnoxious. I wish I had a sanding tool that was literally a ball. There's probably a way to make one, I'll bet. If you took like some spongy material like this and had a ball of it and then dipped it in some kind of, whatever the binder is that keeps the grit on sandpaper. And if you had that grit, never seen a thing like that. That'd be a really interesting kit. Just like foam blocks that you could shape however you want, adhesive and grit in a kit. How cool would that be? You can make your own custom shapes. Solid Quetzal over on Twitch. Hey, welcome. Says, hey, just wanted to stop by and say thank you. You started getting me into sculpting, and your videos have been a huge help and truly inspiring. Keep up the great work, mate. Thanks a lot, man. Or woman, whatever you are. Or non-binary. We don't judge here. Everyone's welcome. Ivan, hello, welcome. Welcome, welcome. Keep getting off a camera. Sorry about that. Oh, because yeah, I can't get this new computer to OBS on it to recognize my nice camera. So I have my little dinky camera, and it is not heavy enough to hold the arm in place. Malkin says, I have fish, remember. I have fish, remember. Water changes are needed frequently, and that entails plunging my arm into fish poop water and cleaning gunk out of the filter. And yeah, a custom sanding kit would be great. Have you ever looked at those little sanding machines that nail technicians use? I believe I have something very similar to that. I do have a little sanding, it's almost like a Dremel tool, but it just vibrates the heads. But they're still there's several different shapes, but they're still all flat. None of them would be able to get a little concavity like that. Although getting a spot like this it might work for. Let me try that real quick. I got this little guy. Covered in hot glue, maybe? I don't know what's going on there. Yeah, see, it just vibrates that little guy. Kamalkin says, the nail tech ones typically have round tips. See, this is round. Do you mean round like that, or do you mean actually like convex shape? David says, Proxon, isn't it? Oh, sure enough, Proxon. Yeah, someone told me about it on a stream once, and I said, what? That exists? Awesome. But yeah, I still can't get into this little concavity here without wrecking all the subtle forms that go into it, unfortunately. So the best I can do is just kind of flop this rolled up piece in there. Linda, welcome. Hello, hello. Still working on this pretty boy. What is dinging me? Oh, I'm getting a message on Facebook. Man, my computer is unhappy. Electric nail drill bits, you say? Huh. I need a close-up picture. See, yeah, drill bits are not. Yeah, I have that. I mean, for a Dremel tool, but rotating is like too aggressive, I think. Unless the bit is like really squishy. Maybe they're squishy. I'll look into it more after the stream. Thanks. Ivan says, tomorrow schools in Bulgaria won't work. Woohoo! Is it a holiday or something out of the ordinary that's causing that? I'm not up to date on my Bulgarian politics, so I don't know. Okay, so I'm thinking for like little areas that are in a triangle like that, I do have a triangle shaped bit. Yeah, there we go. I just gotta remember how you pull these out. Do you twist them? What do you do? twist that. Yeah, there are some areas I just cannot, I do not think I'm going to be able to get any size tool into there. I think I need a new, uh-oh. Oh, hey. Here's a thing I bought and then never used. This is supposed to be like a little sanding pencil type thing. Let's see if that works. Huh. Let's see, can you see that? It's gonna pretty hard to see because it's, I can twist it out further, but I think that's going to fray the edges a little more. Oh, that's pretty neat because it's working kind of like a paintbrush with bristles, so it can conform to that little crevice better. I don't know if it's just the tip, like going straight down, that does the sanding, or if it also works from the side like this. Ivan says, well, I can't really explain it because my English dictionary is not wide enough, but I'll look, search for it, and come back. Okay, I'm gonna see if I can get between the little bridge, the furrows here. I think this is doing something. These must be, I'm guessing, fiberglass fibers, which would then indicate to me that it's really just the tips bearing down that's doing the actual sanding. Getting the edge run along there wouldn't really accomplish anything, I don't think. Malkin's gonna paint some miniatures while you sit with the cool kids. Awesome. I'm pretty sure that's what all the cool kids do, is paint miniatures. I mean, I haven't been to high school in a while, but that's my assumption. They're all like, football and cheerleading? Lame. Let's paint miniatures. Yeah! Yeah, can you see the little fibers that are falling off of that? As it's getting used up, it's shedding fibers, which must be fiberglass. Let's see. Keep brush out of reach of children. Do not touch bristles. In-use bristles can and will break off. Wipe work area with damp paper towel to pick up rust, dust, and any broken bristles. Always retract bristles when not in use. Brushes not to be used except for minor spot cleaning of paint chips and other stated uses. Yeah, I don't think I'd want to try to like sand a wall or something with this. I'm also guessing you should use a damp paper towel to wipe away the bristles, because if you blow on them like I'm doing, you're probably making them float around in the air, and then they'll get in your lungs and give you cancer. All the cancers. This is pretty cool, though. I think it really is working, kind of like a what is that called? A mechanical eraser? I have one of those, except it's not mechanical. Maybe like the eraser on the end of a mechanical pencil. That's what I'm trying to say. Because in here it's just really hard to reach area. Same with around the nasal labial fold here. Darn thing. Ivan says, we call it name days here, but I copy pasted name days in Bulgaria are name days associated with Eastern Orthodox saints. Some names can be celebrated on more than one day. Alright, cool. I certainly enjoy what I have read from Eastern Orthodox mystics. I haven't read a lot of like the Orthodox literature, but I think in general their orthodoxy is more mystical than, say, Catholicism or most Protestantism, so I can appreciate it a little more. I've been to an Eastern Orthodox, okay, so I love it. So this is a convention that is a niche within a niche within a niche. So it's the niche of, it's a convention for writers, so that's a niche. Inside that niche, it's writers of science fiction and fantasy. Okay. Inside of that niche, it's Christian authors of science fiction and fantasy. Within that niche, it's Eastern Orthodox Christian writers of science fiction and fantasy. Now I can't remember what it was called. Is it Oxycon? No, that can't be right. But it's over in West Seattle in Eastern. No, wait, it's at some kind of campus over there. I don't think it's a church campus. Unless there's an Eastern Orthodox University, but I don't think that's what it is. It's a pretty small show, small convention, but nice. I enjoyed it. Friendly people. This is really starting to cramp up my hand because I'm having to like grip it so hard. I feel like I'm going through this pretty fast, and I'm wondering how much refills for this cost, or if you can get refills. Maybe you just have to buy a new pen every time. I also wonder how long you can make it before it starts snapping off uselessly. Oh yeah, just gonna get new papers for this, but I don't know where my sanding sheets went. One moment. Alright, well, those sheets disappeared into the ether. Unless... oh, okay. Here's one of them. Grimalkin, alright, I understand. You are allowed to sleep as needed. Thanks for stopping by. Okay, I'm gonna actually put the sticker on in such a way that it hangs off the edge a little bit, so that this will be kind of flexible, so as it pushes up against areas it can get in there better. That's my theory, at least. So I don't think it quite did what I hoped it would do. I think it actually just let the tips that were hanging off just shake loose, and then got embedded in the primer. So maybe just this scraping method is the better way to go against these areas. Ivan says, hey Josh, remember when I asked you on a live stream what you thought about feminism and how it hasn't reached Bulgaria yet? Well, it did now, and sigh, I just want to cry. I'll bet you do, Ivan. I'll bet you do. It's never fun to have the tables turned. My only advice to people, I think I probably said this last time we talked about feminism, is that when you're encountering new ideas, it's really tempting And there are lots of news organizations out there who will cater to this temptation to only look at the very fringes of people saying the very craziest things, and then assume that's what the whole movement is about these crazy people saying crazy things. But if you want to be as intellectually honest and vigorous as possible, then what you got to do is you got to look at the strongest arguments for any given position that is new and foreign and weird sounding to you. Probably going to have to go in here and actually just fill it up with a epoxy clay and smooth it that way. I don't think I can ever sufficiently scrape in here to get it really even. This is why it was really nice in ZBrush. I could just make this this hair invisible and smooth out the skin and then make the hair come back as needed. Ivan, why are people so ignorant? Boy, so many reasons. I mean, people only have a certain amount of time in the day. Some amount of the cognitive overhead required to learn new things needs to be dedicated, well, a large percentage of it needs to be dedicated to either education or making a living, having relationships with people, raising kids. It's just a lot of places to put your energies, so taking the time to actually look into all the information that exists out in the world is it's a big ask, especially when you have to balance that against all those other things I just said. Going to school, having a job, raising a family, etc., etc. The human brain is very well conditioned to instantly reject things that are new and foreign to it, especially if they're abstract. If they're very concrete, like, oh hey, that thing with big teeth and wings wants to bite me or steal my children, you'll pick that up real fast. But something abstract like, hey, women have historically been repressed systematically by all these abstract rules that we've created over the millennia, and maybe that's not right. Yeah, it's a dubious proposition for any brain who hasn't been exposed to those ideas to just instantly latch onto and say, oh yeah, that's right, let's go with that. Especially since it involves reforming the various institutions that keep your life in whatever amount of stability that it is currently in. In other words, the cost to investigate and learn new things is high. It's much easier to just say what exists already is what's best. So we'll just stick with that. Amazingly time-saving mechanic, that is. Unfortunately, if people really are repressed by what currently exists, then you're propagating their repression by being lazy. You know, if I had some other shaped blades than this one, I could probably do better going around curvy surfaces like this. And I probably have some, but I don't know. I don't want to dig around looking for them right now. So I've got this 100. That's a much rougher sandpaper grit, which tears it down faster, but then requires that you have to go in and do another pass with a finer grit sandpaper. So if you can get it done with just the finer stuff, that's great. But I think in this case I need to actually get in with the thicker stuff first. Aletha says, I like being able to write and publish books as a woman instead of having to either not write at all because it should be sewing instead, or having to publish under a male name. Yeah, I agree with that. The irony with that is that most men who are against feminism would read that and say, well, yeah, of course women should be able to write stories. Of course. That's totally normal. They just shouldn't do X, Y, and Z. Whatever the next thing is, right? But if you took those same guys and put them back 200 years in the past, then they'd be saying, of course women should not be able to write books and make a living outside of the home. That's ridiculous. It's just whatever the current status quo is, that's what a conservative mind will want to conserve. And you know what? There is value to people trying to conserve things. Quite often, people who want to change the world and make everything better end up backfiring, and you end up with things like the French Revolution. And although I don't know, maybe in the long term, the French Revolution was a good thing, but man, they sure did straight up murder a bunch of people and have a whole lot of injustice happen in that process. Nasir coming in with the big words. Hey, Nasir. Yeah, those darn feminists wanting to be considered equal and not be insulted and forced to live lives ways they don't want to. Cancerous. Cancerous. Yeah, see, I was just talking about how the temptation is always to look at the fringes of any movement and define the whole movement based on those fringes. I have a feeling that you have fallen victim to that at some point. pretty much all the popular YouTubers that are known to be against feminism that I've watched do that same maneuver over and over and over again. You're just like, look at this one crazy person who tweeted this one crazy thing. This is what all feminists want. Aren't they crazy? And then everyone says, yes, they're crazy. Society couldn't possibly function if we did what crazy people want. That's why I think stories are the way to actually change culture, not debates, not hot takes, not philosophical deconstructions. People don't care about that and won't listen to it anyway. You change hearts by telling stories that get them to empathize with people and see things through other eyes. Yes, here you got a date tomorrow. All right. I suggest not leading off with the line that feminism is cancer. Nasir, is it with that girl in your class that you were talking about before? Or someone else? Man, I really messed up this this line here, having to spend a ton of time fixing something that no one's ever going to look at. Not the best use of time. But I also want this to be like a real collector's thing that people in the far future will be like, whoa, you have an original trilogy Bowmark bust created by Josh Foreman himself? And then they'll be like, yeah, and check out the back, how smooth that line is on the collar. And then they'll show this live stream on their Holo VR cam network device. And everyone will be so impressed. Yeah, can go ahead and try this super gritty stuff in this super obnoxious spot. Have I tried this in here yet? I don't think I have. Let's try this. This is pretty close to what I was saying I really wanted. It's not quite a ball, but it's pretty close to one. Letha says, I want an original trilogy Bowmark bust created by Josh Foreman himself with that super smooth line. Well, hopefully we can make that happen for you. Nasir says, thank you, gotta iron my onesie. And then, yes, Josh, it's with my crush. Oh, wow. So how'd that work? Did you just walk up and introduce yourself? It's hard to tell how well this is working yet. We'll find out once we do the next coat of primer. But I'm feeling pretty good about it. Especially like being able to just like pencil in these grooves that naturally occur. Now I'm worried that he has a scar on his chin and I can't remember. I might be erasing it away. Now Sierra is going to go up to his date and say, "Hey, girl." That's your plan? Nasir says, "Josh, basically I needed to get her attention, so I made a drawing of her with a horse, and she liked it." Oh, used art to get your way in. Very nice. I mean, it worked for Leonardo DiCaprio on the Titanic, so why shouldn't it work for you? Stay. Stay. Hey, I got 7 people watching on Twitch. Thanks, guys. That's like 3 times more than I had last time. I don't know why you Twitch crowd are so quiet, though. I hope you're not bots. Man, this Quest for Glory song, Quest for Glory 5 song is just a real downer. I need to get it off my list. Go away, Quest for Glory 5. Which way does this go? This way. There we go. You guys are going to be so good at sanding by the time you're done with this video. / stream if you're here live. Dottie says, Josh, have you binged any good shows lately? I just watched 3 episodes of Lost in Space on Netflix. It's better than I expected it to be. I agree, Dottie. I really enjoyed Lost in Space. More than I thought I would. Yeah, that's a good one. What have I binged? That's probably the latest one that I've really binged. As in, like, only took a couple days to get through. What have we been watching? We've been watching a show called The Path, which is on Hulu, I think. Which is like about a cult. Very much like what's that famous one that has the body thetans? Scientology? Tom Cruise? Yeah. It's kind of like that. The first couple seasons where it's kind of like a hippie commune kind of cult, and then in this last season it's finally starting to become a big like phenomenon because of an apparent miracle that happened. It's alright. I like it fine. Heather likes it more than me. So I edit videos or work on ZBrush while we have it on. I'm trying to think what else have we been watching lately. I mean, Stranger Things has probably been my favorite for the past couple years. But, you know, I'm the prime demographic for that. Like, I was literally the same age as the kids in the early 80s that they're portrayed as. So it's very nostalgic for me. And I just like, you know, weird sci-fi, sci-fi in the suburbs genre anyway. My new favorite comedy that I've been watching lately has been Silicon Valley. Again, has probably a lot to do with just being in a fairly adjacent industry. You know, I don't live in Silicon Valley, but I know enough people who have, and I work in software, and so I recognize a lot of the tropes and personalities that are on display there, and so it's just kind of charming for that reason. Nasir says The Bachelorette is the best. Also, keeping up with the Kardashians. Gotta say, for some reason, I am not a fan of those shows. I don't know why. Probably because I'm a feminist. Capri says Altered Carbon. Oh yes, I did quite enjoy Altered Carbon. I feel like I need to watch it again to really like get the full grasp of it, because there's just so much going on non-stop in that show. Like so many different kinds of technologies and sociological things, philosophical things. Yeah, a lot going on in that show. Caprica says, human comment. Over on Twitch. Thank you, I appreciate that. Appreciate knowing at least one of the 7 viewers are human. Because that's definitely exactly what a human would say. This is tricky. Oh, and 76 says, I'm a human, just a quiet one. No, I appreciate that. I appreciate your quietness. Still trying to decide if his eyes look too small to me. There's definitely something weird going on with this corner of this eye. I think I accidentally mushed his lower eyelid up into it. In fact, I think I'm just gonna sculpt the iris in, just destroy this bottom eyelid and rebuild it. That way I'll have a nice clean line going all the way across. Ivan says, anybody here who has played Asura's Wrath? I've heard about it. I think you recommended it earlier. I have not personally yet. Dottie says, maybe he needs eyeliner to make them look bigger. Good callback, Dottie. Nasir says, Josh, so if Bowmark is genetically designed, wouldn't that make him a new species, not fully human? You know, that's a good philosophical question. It could certainly be argued that they are not human. I mean, there's no precedent in nature that I know of a species taking control over its genetic code. And does that species stay that species? I mean, you already have that question with, I mean, humans have been controlling the genetics through a rough way of, you know, dogs and cats and sheep and pigs and cows and many other animals and lots of plants for, you know, tens of thousands of years. And they're considered a different species now. Like, a dog is not a wolf. But there are some dogs that are closer to wolves than others. So I think it makes sense to look at things on a spectrum. To say that you can be more human and less human. But since human, the concept of human evolves, just like humans have, yeah, who knows? My idea for actually why the people, the humans that are on Talifar are as human as they are is because they were part of a group of humans that left Earth because they weren't comfortable with how far humans were changing, were augmenting themselves with technology and genetic changes. And then they were floating through space. They were probably doomed to die, but then the shepherds picked them up and was like, hey, we can find a planet for you guys. Aletha says he looks mischievous to me. Bowmark looks mischievous to you? I haven't heard that one before. I wonder if it's something that I messed with. Ivan says, wait, it's a he? Uh, no, that's a common thing. I have a lot of people. When I was sculpting him in ZBrush, I went through many revisions where people their first reaction was to assume it was a woman, and I made all sorts of changes. I made the jaw like super square, bumped up his can't remember what that muscle is called in the jaw, like widened and strengthened his nose, pulled his brow ridge out a lot. So I made a lot of changes to make him more masculine. But the hair, I think, and the lips and the eyes are still pretty close to. A lot of people just they strike people as feminine. And that's okay. They're feminine looking dudes. That's right, Nasir. Men can be gorgeous too. There are certain like male actors that I often hear women refer to them as being gorgeous or beautiful. Like Johnny Depp back in his heyday was often described as being a gorgeous man. Who else? There's another one. Can't remember now. But yeah, I have been referring to Bowmark as beautiful for quite a while. Caprice says, Brad Pitt in Interview with a Vampire, probably. Yeah, he did have luscious hair, didn't he? Trying to think if it's generally men with longer hair that end up getting called that. In Western society, long hair is such a on men carries all this weight of significance that it doesn't in other cultures, and it's just kind of a weird quirk of our culture that it's associated with femininity. And therefore men who have long hair are seen as rebellious in some way. probably why it ended up being a staple of heavy metal. I've got to make the upper lid here bulge out where the iris is and stick closer to the eyeball, to the white of the eye. So I got to do some very delicate cutting, because when you're working at this scale, you know, every little micro millimeter makes it a big difference in the perceived expression. Nasir says, long hair is not for everyone. I used to have long hair. Ivan says, I have long hair. Nasir says, how long? Dottie says, yep, my son has traditional heavy metal hair. Yeah, I had long-ish hair for quite a while. See, here's the best picture of me with long hair. Oh, that didn't quite work. Hold on. Remember, I promised I would figure out how to make this a quick one-step process, so I could just bring up my monitor at a moment's notice, and it would be so awesome. But yeah, that's not what's happening, is it? Not at all. What happens if I minimize that? Does that work? There we go. Okay. Yeah. That's about the longest my hair got. Back when I was a male model for perfume. You know how it is when you gotta be a male model for perfume. You gotta grow your hair long. That's just all there is to it. Got distracted. Back to the eye. Under his eye. Aletha, you'll have to tell me if he still looks mischievous to you after I'm done with these eye tweaks. Ivan says, when I stretch it out, comes to my chin. Nasir says, that's not very long. Mine used to be half my back. Yes, that is definitely long. Johnny Depp vibes. Yeah, a little bit. Aletha says, don't ruin the mischievous look. It's perfect, like Loki. Oh, yes, Loki. That's another one that I've heard described as a beautiful man. What's his name? Tom Hiddleston or something? One of the funniest things in my career that has happened career-wise was when we were working on Guild Wars 1, I believe it was. Maybe it was when we were starting developing Guild Wars 2. NCSoft, our parent company from Korea, sent us these giant character boards. So they were like, you know, the big foam core boards. They were like, you know, 4 foot by 3 foot or something. And each board had examples of mostly K-pop stars that fell into these very, like, defined categories. So there was, like, cute, sexy, and, like, bad boy, cute, and... Oh, okay. One thing I remember was there was cute, sexy, and there was sexy, cute. And those were 2 different categories. Because they wanted to make sure that we had the custom faces for players that would fit all of those categories. So people who liked whatever that particular category was would have a face they could put on their character. Very interesting sort of cultural exchange there. Because over there they have those like the K-pop bands that have like very formulaic, and they're like the mix of types of stars that they have in their boy bands and girl bands. The particular mix that they have appeals to whatever demographic they're going for. So they might have a cute sexy and a bad boy chic and a shy sexy, but then no brave sexy or whatever, you know. So it's, I don't know. It's very quirky and funny to me to think along those lines. Nasir says, honestly, I like his eyes like this. Don't give him anime eyes. You do not have to worry about that. I am very, very anti-anime eyes. Never been a fan. Just one thing that can happen if you accidentally make the eyes smaller than you intend is your character can look sleepy. Because, you know, when we first wake up, often our eyes are, I don't know, 5 or 10% smaller than after, all, you know, our skin rejuvenates or whatever. Whatever it is that happens is when you go from sleep state to awake state. Yeah, because of the color difference in there, it's pretty much impossible to make any more intelligent decisions about the shape. So I've got to prime it before I do any more work. But I think I got it to where it needs to be. I mean, I'm still gonna do some more eyelid work to make sure that the line of the eyelid is really smooth. And of course, the eyeball itself needs to be as smooth as possible as well. At first I was thinking that I would just do the eyeball and leave the eyelids completely gone so that I could sand the eyeball down to be like super smooth and exactly, you know, as round as I need it to be. That's really hard to do because without the eyelids as a reference point, it's hard to know if the eyeball is in the right place, or, you know, that it's curving down in the right amount. So it's a little clumsier to do it this way, more back and forth, more steps to do both the eyeball and the lids. But yeah, I'm just more comfortable that I'm going to be able to pull it off this way. Letha says, my Guild Wars 2 Ranger is also a very beautiful fella. I saved and saved up gold in Guild Wars 2 and bought what I thought was the infusion I wanted for 600 gold, but it wasn't. Sadness. Aww. 600 gold. Nasir says he looks confident and strict with those eyes. Alright. Okay, now with the mouth, I got the lines. You can see in this one here, I got the lines back, but I lost this little muscle, corner of the mouth muscle. I can never remember what that's called, so I need to kind of re-establish that, and then get the lines in the lips. Which, you know what? I'm just gonna try to carve them a little bit. See what happens. Usually carving doesn't work as well as I hope it will. If I can just scrape these in. I wonder if using this will give me some like subtle micro lines. Ivan agrees that he looks confident and strict. Letha says, interesting. I think he still looks a little mischievous, but also confident, possibly cocky, and pleasant. I mean, I want him to look heroic, but, you know, being heroic involves other attributes as well. You can be heroic and mischievous. You can be heroic and confident. You can be confident and mischievous. So, I mean, if people are reading these things into the expression, that's good because they're kind of making narrative assumptions, which, I mean, unless they're totally wrong. Like, if you saw them and thought, oh man, this guy's one evil immer effer, then I would be like, okay, I gotta address this. I gotta do something to change that perception. But so far, you guys haven't said anything that's like totally contradictory to him. Ivan says, are you ready, kids? What does that mean? Is who ready? Ready for kids? Van Morto over on Twitch says, I'm a box. As long as you're not a bot, I'm happy. Man, what is it that... Why does VLC love playing this one Quest for Glory song? Like, there's a whole Quest for Glory soundtrack that's all happy game music, but it only plays this one. Where is it? Where are you? Quest for Glory. Here we go. Here's a nice one. Da-da-da! See, this is the hero music. Now most of these little lines I'm scraping in are going to be mostly filled in by the next coat of primer, but my hope is that they'll just be a super duper subtle remainder of those lines. A couple of them I'm going in and actually like gouging out a more significant crease, but not too many. Don't want him to look like he's been in a parched desert for, you know, lost wandering in a desert. No, bad guys are coming. Oh, Ivan says it's a SpongeBob reference. My bad. I should know this. I literally have SpongeBob blankets that I sleep under every night. Are you ready, kids? You know, if you don't do it in the voice, how am I supposed to know? Uh-oh. I just discovered a big disadvantage to this guy. I now have fibers sticking in my shirt, and I just felt one stick into my tummy, which means, oh boy, I hope this washes out, because there's like a billion micro fiberglass shards in my shirt now.
Sometimes think too much, sometimes think too long, sometimes think too much, sometimes think too long. An understatement is that I'm a mess. Dream about you, but I must confess I might just be lonely. Don't want to think about the time when songs about fantasy I had about some guy I saw when I was out. Is it just another of my stupid games? Dream and wander till I go insane because I'm lonely.
Yes, sir, says Josh, regarding his dreadlocks, are they like Tarzan or more like African people? Well, being genetically modified person, they're not going to be exactly like any modern race's dreadlocks. But his hair in general, it's fairly close to African, except it's red. It's red, but very tight little curls. So when it's left untreated, it will just kind of dread up like that. I mean, you kind of have to twist it to get it into locks, but I mean, that's way easier to do than managing it when you're out on a globe-trotting adventure and getting wounded all the time. Ivan says, need to go now, and also nobody said aye aye Captain, now I'm sad. Aye aye Captain. Thanks for stopping by, Ivan. Have a great day. Or night, or morning, or afternoon, or whatever it is, wherever you are. Bulgaria. Have a great Bulgarian time. Oh, hey, we got some people talking on Twitch. Yay! Damon says, I'm here, but you are muted while we eat. At least I'm a viewer. Alright, fair enough. And Mortis said, I had Josh turned down while commanding guild missions, and I kept hearing the belt sander and going, what in the grinth is that? Thought my headphones were broke, until I was like, oh, it's that. Whoops. Sorry, headphones. Damon says, I used to be ranked pretty high in achievement points, but I pretty much haven't played since the last X-Pack. How dare you? Van Mortis says, I like my Griffin. I'm 60 AP away from 3,500. Damon says, I didn't even unlock my Griffin. Van Mortis says, I like swooping around on it. It does have great swooping maneuvers. The swooping maneuvers cannot be denied. This is taking forever. Alita says, I paid Serena to get the Griffin for me. Oh my gosh. It's so cheaty of you. Now, did you pay her in real world money or in Guild Wars currencies? And Sierra's asking what my sanding tool is. Right now I'm just using this little roll of sanding paper. Although, that reminds me, I got this one out, this little sponge. I thought that might help me get into the cracks a little better. Alita says, it's either cheat or throw my computer out the window. Cheating is less expensive. We paid her in Guild Wars gold. Alright. Well, then that's a fair transaction. If you paid real world money, I'd have to report you to the police. You'd be banned forever. I'm just kidding. I wouldn't tell you. When I start seeing the white gesso show through, that's when I know that I'm getting a very smooth surface. And then the next coat of primer will even that all out and it'll look great in theory. And Sear says, you used to have a tiny machine which does sanding. Oh yeah, this guy, this Proxon. Yeah, I was using that a little bit, but it was like gunking up the surface. I think it might have been too fine or something. It felt like it was melting the primer, like turning it into blobs. Seems to work in some areas better than others. Van Mortis said he earned his griffins. David says if you want to look him up, he's blacksmith.8679. And Van Morta is vanmorta.9560. Now everyone knows. The sanding sponge seems to be working a lot better than just the rolled paper. I just had a crappy idea. Someone tell me why this is a bad idea. What if I got my camera, my nice camera that works, hooked it to my laptop because OBS sees my nice camera for that, stream that to YouTube, and then use the computer I'm using now and use that to stream to Twitch, because the whole reason I got this other computer to try is I'm trying, because on Twitch my voice kept going out of sync because my other computer couldn't handle the, my laptop can't handle the amount of data or whatever is going on, but it can handle the camera. Problem would be then I'd have two different cameras, although they'd be on the, they could be on the same mount. I don't know how that would work or not work. Yes, I hate having this crappy camera when I'm doing like detailed art stuff. I mean, for this sanding, it's not that big a deal, but for other stuff, it is a big deal. Like, I bought a really nice camera so that I could have a higher quality presentation, you know? Letha said, when I say paid, what I mean is she volunteered for free and I just happened to gift her gold afterwards. Yeah, that's it. Nasir says, so Josh, when you bake the clay, WI this print, won't it melt? What material was the bus printed with? I don't think this would melt, but I'm not baking clay on it. This epoxy sculpt sets up on its own. It doesn't need to be baked. I can't, the printer person told me what it was and it was some chemical name I can't remember. But generally when I'm needing to sculpt onto an already existing sculpture, Sculpey is not a good choice for that. Epoxy sculpt is the way to go. Letha says, Bowmark is starting to look really awful. I get anxious and have to reassure myself. Don't worry, Josh can fix it. It's just it's the process of going through multiple steps, and many of the steps, don't look great. That is true. Do I have an air blow? I do. Okay. Probably gonna have to go through this process one more time, but a lot less of it, I'm guessing. I think I want to sand this hand down quite a bit. Just redo the wood surface on that. That's probably not good for that device. Yeah, Sierra says, how many molds are you gonna make and are you selling them? I don't know the answer to either of those questions yet. Probably gonna be playing it by ear. See if there's a demand. See how long it takes to do each casting. Talitha on YouTube says, I demand one. Nasir says, me too. Well, there we go. I've got some demand. Now I just need to create some supply. Gotta be really careful. I keep wanting to bear pressure down on this area, and that could easily snap it. No, not easily anymore since I filled this with freeform air, but still a distinct possibility. Dottie, you gotta go. Thanks for stopping by. Thanks for visiting. Thanks for watching. Thanks for hanging. Nasir says, maybe do these changes on the digital sculpt and 3D print a smaller scale and mold it for is, I'm guessing molding smaller scale would be easier and much more affordable. Well, I already have the smaller one 3D printed. I do need to do some work to it. In fact, I'm going to leave it out here just so I can be reminded of it. Yeah, not much work to do on it. I think mostly I just need to break off these dreads that are hanging out and redo the back area a little bit. But yeah, this will definitely be one that I can give away for cheaper. And I need to fix the hand on this one as well. But yeah, this is like the premium format version. I don't expect to have to make many of these. Jennifer Ryan. Hi, Jennifer. Says, hello, everyone. I hope you are all having a lovely evening. So far, so good. Alright, think I can break out the old sculpting tools. Sculpting is so much more fun than sanding and carving, even though carving sometimes is sculpting, but alright. Oh, not you. Thee and thou. Here we go. Yeah, Sear says, yeah, that tiny one looks beautiful. Yep, it sure does. That's the beauty of super high resolution printing. You don't have to go through all this garbage process. Oh. Jennifer says, totally agree. Sanding can be tedious. Indeed. Was just watching Sunshine Cleaning, a movie about these two sisters who end up in a business cleaning up after murders and suicides. And younger sister is the actress whose name is what's her name? She's also the co-star in the movie Edge of Tomorrow, also known as Live, Die, Repeat, where Tom Cruise and her, well, Tom Cruise is the one who gets caught in the time loop. But it's basically like Groundhog Day meets Starship Troopers. And it's a great movie. You should watch it. Why can I not think of her name? Someone remember her name for me. Well, garbage. My hand's too sweaty now to go in this glove. Get it unsweaty in my hair. Gotta take a shower anyway. Nasir says, maybe 5 years from now we'll be able to print with full colored statues. Yeah, I sure hope so. I was wanting to hold out and not get a printer until then, but I realized I was spending so much money on ordering prints that it didn't make sense to not have my own. But yeah, having just come out of the oven looking like a finished statue, boy, that would be great. Okay, I'm never ever going to be able to put another glove on in my life, apparently. I'm being punished. I don't think my hand can get any drier. Damon says, volume rises. Now you have to talk nice about me. Guys, let me tell you about Damon. Damon is amazing. He was an early adopter to this channel and has just been a super fun guy to have around, super helpful person to have around. And then on top of it, just last week, he did Patreon for me for $10 a month. This guy is amazing. Like, everything about him has been a joy and a blessing to me. I cannot speak highly enough about Damon. Plus, he works at a nursery, which means he's got lots to talk about with my mom next time she's on the stream. My co-author and mother, Rose Foreman. Because, you know, everyone's co-author is typically their mother, right? That's just how that works. But she loves gardening as well. She tends to do English-style gardens, which are not my favorite, but she loves them. She just loves having a massive variety of plants, and she knows everything about them. Of course, she knows everything about almost everything, so that is not surprising. Emily Blunt? Bluth? Emily Blunt. I'm going to say Emily Blunt is the actress I was trying to think of. And she has these muscles that I'm putting on right now in great abundance on her face. Her mouth reminds me of a Cabbage Patch Kid because it's so prominent. I mean, she's beautiful. I'm not saying anything bad about it. It's that particular muscle I notice on her. This little corner of the mouth muscle. Damon turned into 4 blushing otters. That was my goal. You notice I put on a massive blob and carved most of it away. That is as designed. I like to just make sure I'm getting the general flow of the skin, the area around it, and then kind of smooth it down from there. In general, in design and in art, I find it's a huge time saver to just overshoot everything you're doing by 200 or 300% and then like chisel it back from there, as opposed to slowly like adding a little bit. It's not quite there, add a little bit more, not quite there, add a little bit more, not quite there. You know what I mean? Let's see, I've got a rubbery nubbery tool that I should use here. Caprice is agreeing with me. It's Emily Blunt. And it says, it helps me to get my gloves on if I put my hand as far as it'll go, then blow into the glove and inflate it so my fingers go all the way. You mean like with the glove already over your fingers a little bit? I found that the moisture from my breath just makes it worse. I think I've tried that before, if I understand what you're saying. Let's see what we have here. See, it's very subtle. Very subtle. And right now it's too big. It's making them look kind of like old and frumpy or something. But do not worry. I got this. I got this under control. Man, when this stuff is fresh, it just blends so beautifully into any surface. See, this muscle actually follows the label nasal fold a bit, so you have this departure where you have the sphincter that is around the mouth, the sphincter muscles that make this kind of hoop fold under it, and this goes over it, so you get this little tiny crease that's usually so subtle. I find a lot of people ignore it to their peril. Or, well, let me put it this way. When I had not perceived it yet, all of my sculptures suffered as a result. And then once I realized it was there, it's like, oh, look how much better and more natural that looks now. Not that you can see it very well with this camera and the surface quality with all the weird sanding and stuff around it, but just have to take my word for it. So I still have a little bit too much weight down here. That's a big signifier of age. The more this muscle kind of is pronounced, you'll start getting a line like this under it. That was the saddest thing I discovered when I shaved my beard after I had my beard for 4 years, was that line on me was more pronounced than I remembered. It's like, oh, you mean I aged during that time? No fair. I thought beards were anti-aging. Yeah, I think that got the subtlety of it. Although in this one, I'm actually seeing. No, I guess I got about the same angle, pretty close. I could probably stand to pull it out a little bit more. I do want this to be as accurate to the CG model as possible, since that's kind of the template that I'm going to pull lots of assets from. And then this is where having a brush is great. Because with it's got 100 little itty bitty hands to push it around instead of one big blunt fist. It's not blending well there for some reason, I don't know why. Okay, back to the blunt fist. Clearly defined my line. Now I need to go back and make it subtle again. Now I'm getting little fiberglass stabbies all over my fingers. Awesome. The brush must have been in the pile of fiberglass down here, and I'm picking it up with my semi-sticky fingers and stabbing myself repeatedly. think I want a softer brush now. Let's try this one. I'm gonna hold off on the eyelids till I get primer on there. I do not think this is gonna work, but I'm giving it a try. I'm just putting little dabs of the clay in there with it really thinned out, and thinking maybe if it's thinned out enough it will just kind of fill in the little roughness that's in there. Make it as smooth as the rest of the skin. Don't know where that clay went. It was there. Touched it with the brush. It's gone. It's not on the brush. It's just gone. Very strange. definitely going to be smooth in there. Can I blend that into the rest of the skin? I think so. Yeah, that'll work. So all these little like fjords between his dreadlocks, where there's like just a little sliver of skin you can see, but it leads out into the main neck. I've got a solution for that. I don't so much have the solution for the ones that are just like way down deep in there. Caprice, what did you think of Altered Carbon? Curious. You have a very unique perspective on life because you've been through so many things. Just curious, like, is there so many traumatic things in that show? Like, how does someone who's been through a lot of tragedy in their lives respond to entertainment that you know, is built so much on that kind of awful people doing awful things to each other? My response is always very kind of just intellectual or philosophical because I don't have much experience being abused or dealing with people that are like truly downright evil. Yeah, let's see how that works out. Gotta do the hand. thing I wish a plexiscope was better at is like sticking a very thin surface of it to something. I can get a thin coat on, but then the second I try to move it around at all, it starts to peel up. Actually, it would have been easier just to sand this whole thing off and just make a fresh one. If I'm not successful at this attempt, that's what I'll do next time. Keep stabbing myself with these little fiberglass hairs. Not fun. This says it's not art if there isn't pain. There you go. Hey, full Elvin! Thanks for hopping on. I can use the numbers. Can't we all? Whenever I get the alert that you're on, I try to put the computer on it. At least. But lately, I've always been indisposed to do so I apologize for that. The nice thing about this particular medallion that he's wearing is it's supposed to be very old, worn wood. So I can get away with it being pretty crappy looking. All right, yeah. Well, thanks for popping in, Full Elvin. Go eat food. And yeah, Damon put a link to your channel up there. And HD, man, I cannot read anything on that dark screen. I need to change the background of my Twitch. Yes, please follow my amazing work. I appreciate it. All right. So, now can we start on the base? I think we can. Now, originally I wanted to do the... So I'm pretty much sculpting over all of these designs with the same thing, but, you know, not with 3D printer line. Let's see. Can you see the 3D printed lines? Not as well on the monitor as you can in real life, but basically I need to cover the whole thing. And I was thinking one way to do that is to just basically put snakes over the whole thing and follow the pattern there, and then fill in the middle parts with the I think I want it to be sort of a beaten brass sort of look. Jennifer Ryan says, what is its significance? Specify what it you're referring to is. And then over on Twitch, HD someone is asking if I do commissions. Damon posted a link to my Gmail. Thank you, Damon. And to my Webma site. The general answer is I generally don't do commissions unless it's like for one of my favorite bands, or I get a chance to do something for a big Hollywood movie or something. I'm very busy trying to create my own IP right now, such as this beautiful man, Bowmark, and his adventures. Well, here's a more beautiful version of him, so you don't see him all messed up. And his adventures in the fantasy world that I've been creating over the past 20 years. And also I already have a job making video games, so I'm not in a state where I need to make money with my art. I already do that. But I know someone who does do commissions, and that's Full Elvin, who is just on here, who is currently trying to raise money to get to BlizzCon, I believe. Alright. I have to take off this glove because it keeps stabbing me. And that is no fun. Oh, and now I still feel it. So it must have wormed its way through the glove into my skin. That is delightful. It's like when you get a little shard of glass stuck in your skin. Oh, Jennifer Ryan is saying the hand. The hand is significant because it's the religious symbol of their people. It's called the giver's hand. And Bowmark starts out with his royal giver's hand medallion on his adventure, and he runs into someone else that, according to what he's been raised with, is supposed to be a sworn enemy, and he discovers that that guy also has a giver's hand. You know, it's a different style, more crude, Um, but yeah, I don't want to give too much away because it can get spoilerish. But yeah, it's pretty significant in the book. So the Scarred King is the name of the trilogy, and he comes back all scarred from his adventures, and also with a different medallion than the one he left with. So it's got lots of significance in the story, and to Bowmark and his people. Okay, I just had a thought. If I do every other one of these, since I don't have enough clay mixed up right now to do all of them anyway, if I do every other one, then I can carve them without bumping into the ones next to them. Full Elvin, thanking me for the shout out. No problem, Full Elvin. We little startups have got to work together, or we'll never make it big. Congrats on your what is it? Apprentice? No, it's whatever it is, whatever that status is on Twitch that you get when you get your 50 followers and view hours and stuff. I still don't have that yet. Although I was just listening to a podcast today where they said that if you affiliate, that's the word. If you get affiliate status, you're not allowed to stream to other places. And I was on another stream, who was it with? Someone else, and they were looking into it and said, no, that's not true. So apparently, if I get offered affiliateship, I really need to read that contract closely, because I'm not going to abandon YouTube. I have 14,000 subscribers over there. That would be ridiculous. Damon says, if you make affiliate, then I can sub and give you bits. You can't give bits if I'm not affiliated. It sounded, from the podcast I was listening to, it sounded like you can still get, like, donations or whatever. Are donations different than bits? I don't know all the lingo clearly. Boy, I sure hope these little fiberglass dealies wash out of my clothes. I really like this shirt. Full Elvin says, definitely read into it. I don't remember seeing anything about that, but Twitch is also the only place I stream anyway. And then it says, nope, bits and subs are only for affiliates and partners. Donations are for everyone. Donations are usually third party, so it could be anyone. Third party, like you have to set up some other method. So you can't donate through Twitch unless they're affiliated. I take it is what you're saying.
Shown the world with love.
Originally I was going to just do the rings and then do the circles inside them separately. But I wonder if I can just do them all at once. I'm going to find out. I have a lot of latitude because this is meant to be kind of primitive beaten metal. How in the world am I going to get a microscopic piece of fiberglass out of my finger? I would assume eventually the skin just pulls it out and rejects it? Oh, I think I could see it. I see two of them. Alright, it's time for the surgery minute. Ow! Ow. Still there. I don't think these tweezers are quite cut out for something this tiny. Van Mortis says, from what I read about Twitch exclusive, if you are streaming to Twitch, you can't stream the same stream on another service, but if you stop streaming, you can then start another stream on another service. Basically, Twitch doesn't want you double dipping. I think it's best to stream on Twitch, then upload the streams to YouTube. But I am one person. Van Mortis says, not sure if they would allow that on the exclusive thing. Could do a live thing, then a feature on another service. That would be annoying. I mean, given that the vast majority of interaction with people happens on YouTube. Get it? No. Oh my gosh, this is enough. Sharper tweezers, but now I can't even see. No, I cannot see where they are at all. I'm just gonna randomly tweeze all over my skin. And 20 hours later, I might find them. Huh? Oh. Alright. I think they're gone. Alethea says the fiberglass shards are from the 3D print material? No, they're from this little sanding eraser thing. The end is basically a fiberglass stick, and as you sand, it just breaks off, and you end up with this pile of like super deadly little fibers. The directions say to use a wet washcloth or wet paper towel to clean the pieces off of the thing you're sanding. And I was just kind of, blowing them off, and that apparently was a mistake. Damon says, you only just started here, give it time. Yeah, I will definitely give it time. I'm very happy to be proven wrong because Twitch's streaming options are 1,000 times superior to what YouTube has, for sure. So I would love it if Twitch was better. Does that work? Nice. That's pretty much the shape that I wanted. David says, shouldn't you be wearing a mask then with that stick drop in fiber? Yeah. Yeah, I think so. I didn't realize what it was exactly until it was too late. Oh, nope. I still have a little piece in my finger somewhere. Nice. Well, Alvin says, hosting helps so much. I ordinarily only have about 3 or 4. Ended up with 10 people today. It was nice. I have you on my auto host. Awesome. I feel like I put you on my auto host, but I'm not sure. I should double check that. I put some people on there, I think, assuming I did it right, which, as you know from working with me on the technical side, is not my strong point, to say the least. Letha says, I suppose I would make a Twitch account for you, Josh, if you switch to them only, but I will whine and complain about it. Good to know. Well, just think, if you switched over there, you could also support your good friend Full Elvin. Yeah, I think that'll work. wonder if I have a cap or something that is about the size of that circle. So I could do even more stamping. Not too big. I think this is the same size. Close, just a tiny bit too small. Yeah. Full Elvin says, Twitch is a little wonky to navigate to. You can check your auto host other under dashboard in the middle row of things towards the bottom or under settings. And then is urging Aletha to come to the dark side. Damon Wrath says she'll come eventually. Wahahaha. Elvin says, I love that she can't actually see me and I could just message her on Facebook, but instead I'm just typing here anyway. Also, that Bowser emoticon is everything. Damon says, yeah, Richie's icons this month are amazing. Those are Richie's, huh? Who's Richie? Is Richie someone I should know? Oh, is that Bog Otter? Or is that someone else? I seem to remember you mentioning that before. And then I was like, oh yeah, I should know who that is. So you could make, if I had a channel like his, I could make new icons every month. That'd be awesome. Or is that one of those things where you can make some when you're affiliate, but more if you're a partner? Got to be a much faster way to do what I'm doing right now. I mean, I could have just made a stamp. I can make one of these, let it set up, make a stamp. But sometimes I just don't want to think. I don't want to go through that many steps in the process. Just brute force it. Damon says you get emotes based on your overall sub point count. You get 3 starting out as affiliate, more as partner. It goes up depending on how many sub points you have. Cool. Damon says you can modify the ones you get. Not sure how often you can change them. Has a limit, but they do have to be approved. Ah. Wow, Twitch is that hands-on? Wait, they approve I mean, aren't there millions of Twitch streamers out there? How could they possibly be, there's a word for that. I suddenly can't think of it. Damon says they want to make sure they aren't graphic, basically. Oh, yeah, I suppose they would all be various genitalia if there wasn't some policing that went on, huh? Full Elvin says they're manually approved to no algorithm. It takes a while. It took me almost a week to get my first one approved. Damon says, otherwise all these 14-year-old streamers would have, yes, just what I was saying. No swear words as emotes either. It's really bothering that I can't think of the technical word for that. When you as a company have to manually review everything to make sure it fits whatever criteria. There's a word for that. Well, Elvin says, and they're picky about how you name them as well. I had one denied for inappropriate content, but it was anime nosebleed icon that I've seen others use too. It was likely the label I used. Damon says a complaint. Says my prefix for emoticons are full L, so I used flove for the suffix for it. So it's a full flove, and they denied it. I have no idea what that means, but good to know. I know YouTube has been known to flag stuff as inappropriate based on tags that you use. Can't quite fit in there. Alith over on YouTube says, uh-oh, the dark side is calling. Are there cookies? That's what I keep hearing. I do love cookies. I'm doing a very bad job at making a good circle here. Ironic, since I just bought the latest album from a band called A Perfect Circle, and yet I cannot make one. It just occurred to me it'd be easier if I just started with a blob and then did that back of the drill stamp I've been using. Starting with the ring is super annoying because it keeps wanting to move. Full elf love has meaning, huh? I'll just have to take your word for it. Alita says, my internet died a horrible death, but I finally made it back. Oh, thank God. Well, you missed a lot while you were gone. For instance, I read the thing you said about the dark side having cookies. That is all you missed. And also me making the realization that this would have been a lot easier if I would have started with blobs instead of trying to do rings. Damon says, this message brought to you by our sponsors. like what you see, consider throwing Josh money so we can try and make him do a little shimmy and put on some glitter. Results not guaranteed. Is that something Twitch people do? Is they do put glitter on themselves and do dances? I suppose there's worse things you could do for money on the internet. Or better, depending on your point of view. Yeah, the only Twitch stream that I watch well, there's 2 Twitch streams that I've watched regularly over the past couple of years. And one is Gamma Sutra, which is just like an inward-facing game developer stream where they just have on various developers talking about the game that they just released or whatever. And so it's really like pretty low-key. It's not, you know, there's seldom more than 5 or 6 people in there. It doesn't have much of a personality per se. And then the other one is crap, what are they called? Red Letter Media's 2 guys, Jack and Rich. Previously recorded live, that's what they call themselves. And they certainly don't do any wacky things very often, but they're older, you know, they're like almost my age, so I don't think they're super hip to the current trends or whatever. They just kind of play games and talk about things they love and hate. Paul Elvin says, one of my favorite streamers is glittering his beard the 8th because we called his bluff. Damon says, Game Dev Talk Shop. Is that a channel, or are you summarizing what I said about Gamma Sutra? Angelic Butterfly blah 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 says, hey Josh Murray, over on YouTube. Hello. Sorry I can't say your name at all. Maybe because I've been streaming for 3.5 hours and I'm super uncomfortable because I have little bits of fiberglass all over my shirt and hands and pants, and I keep getting stabbed in mysterious places. And it's not fun. Alright, so yeah, I think I can come in and salvage what's here with an X-Acto later. Alright. I think I'm ready to go tend to my wounds. Try to find a magnifying glass, figure out where all these little fibers are stuck into my skin. It's gonna be super fun, you guys. Yeah, so thanks everyone for coming out and hanging out with me, and ow. And yeah, I still haven't come up with a good way to end shows. I keep thinking, hey, I should come up with like a little catchphrase or something. And then I keep forgetting. And then when I say it out loud, I'm like, that's kind of dumb. Like, I need a catchphrase? I don't need a catchphrase. I'm just who I am. But if you guys could think of a good catchphrase for me, hit me up next time, and we'll do that. So, Bjorn Workshop is an amazing stream. Full Elvin is saying he's a leather worker, made stag armor from Guild Wars 2. Yeah, I saw that guy. It's awesome. And Damon says, have to check it out. I used to watch my grandpa do leather work. Damon says, host someone. I think I am hosting someone. But if you have a way to confirm or disconfirm that, do that and then message me and let me know if I'm doing it wrong or not. Volition Prop says, can confirm. And Full Elvin says he is super supportive of the creative community and helps people who are starting out. So cool. Cool. Anything happening on YouTube? Nope, just Aletha talking about giving me good luck. So, and yes, it is uber itchy. Angelic Butterfly kisses Nursery Miles. You got that right. Full Elvin says you can /raid username and it should host them too. I know mine does. So my understanding of hosting is that when I'm not live, my channel will basically be a receiver of other people's streams that I choose, and then when they go live, it'll appear on. So if someone just goes to Twitch TV /Josh Foreman and I'm not on, and someone else is on that I'm hosting, they will be on instead. That's my understanding. Raiding, I thought, was like, hey, everyone on my stream right now, let's go to other people's stream and say hi. So I'll have to look into that more. Damon says it shifts your current stream to someone right now. Okay. So you're saying, since I'm not going to be streaming anyway, I can just type in that command that Full Elvin said, and then it will switch to someone. But I don't know who's live right now, so I don't know how to do that. Full Elvin says, must be because I have only rated people I also have on my auto host. Yeah, this is all confusing. I think I need like literally a diagram to understand, or I need to experience in someone else's thread to really know what any of this stuff means. But anyway, yeah, I'm just super antsy about all this stuff all over me, so I've got to go. And I'll see you guys on, let's see, today is Sunday, so I'll see you guys on Wednesday. Yes, I know things. And I'll, yes, see you guys Wednesday. Bye.